Let's talk business energetics. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chani Thompson. I have been a part of this beautiful company for it'll be 10 years this year. Oh my God, it is my 10-year anniversary. Not till October, but it's just gone 9 years. I'm a PMD plus and I joined this business when I was in my mid 20s because I was a registered nurse at the time and I was broke pretty much. I had absolutely no savings. I was really struggling financially. I was living week to week. And this just seemed like a no brainer for me because on the side of my nursing career, I was doing like some health coaching and I had started like a little health program for people. And that was really fun. And then I started taking the product. It made so much sense. I had a phenomenal product experience. And then I thought, I need to tell everybody about this business. Sorry, the product. And then that was that. But in saying that, when I joined, I never, ever, ever had the intention of building a business. I was like, I'm not doing your get-togethers, your culty like thing. But I will get customers on this product because I love and adore it. Anyway, don't know how, but here I am 9 years later, and I've built one of the most beautiful teams, I believe. I'm so proud of it. I'm proud of all of the team, but what I'm most proud of is just being a part of this company and what it offers and the community here. So, over the last decade-ish of being in business, I have learnt so much about my own energetics, and over the time, I have definitely come to points in my business where I've been met with resistance and frustration, and I've wondered like why things aren't moving, why things aren't working. I'd have growth, and then I'd have a plateau, and then I'd be like so frustrated in that plateau to be like, I want to grow more. I want more income, more impact, more team, more customers, right? And I don't know if anyone here resonates with that, but I definitely over the 10 years have been met with times of like this is really hard. So what I learned over the years is that there is a particular blueprint that we all hold that's individual to us all. So, what that means is the way that I got to PMD plus isn't going to be the way that you get to PMD plus. Now, 3 years ago, you would never have heard me say that. Okay, I would jump on trainings and I jump on mentoring calls with my team, and I'd get up on stage and speak about the strategies that worked for me and how I did it and how I got customers and how I built my personal brand and how I, raised up leaders and all of those things. And I would say, like, this is the blueprint. This is how I did it, guys. Go on and follow it and do it for yourself. And I don't know, it was kind of like obvious, but I didn't notice it at the time. Like this whole methodology of energetics that I'm about to teach you today really landed with me like 3 years ago. Only 3 years ago. And I've seen so much shift for me and my team since I've started to implement this. So I kind of started realizing like, how is it that I can give, I'm just going to use your names on the screen. How is it that I can give Mel my exact blueprint of how I got to 100 Club, and Mel's following it and it worked for me, but it's not working for Mel. Like Mel's following the steps and the strategies, but she's getting annoyed with me because I'm telling her all these things to do, scripts to use, posts to post, how to show up, how to speak. And she's like, Shani, this isn't working for me. And then she quits and leaves. And I'm like, okay, next then, like, must be something wrong with Mel, right? And I don't know, I can't pinpoint the moment where it kind of all landed for me, but I realized, oh, okay, well, what worked for me actually burns Mel out. Or vice versa, I'd look at my amazing uplines and be like, what works for them? Like, I hate. I don't want to do what they're doing. I don't want to do it like that. So I started to change the way that I coached and mentored my team. And when they would come to me to say, Shani, like, I need more customers, I need to qualify my business, or I want to reach a goal like 3 club or 12 club, or I want to reach the next promotion, how do I do it? I started to change my tonality and my advice, and I would say, well, let's dive into your energetics. Let's find out what your blueprint is that's going to help you get there. Because I can give you what helped me, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work. It might work, actually, might work. Little side note. There are some people who might have similar energetics to me. So if I was to give them the blueprint, they're like, oh, this works. And hey, I think I've had 5 NMDs in my team. And most of them when I was helping them to reach their goals, I'd be like, this is how I did it. So it works for some, but there are a lot of people that before I started using this methodology of training my team didn't get to reach their goals because they quit before they could figure it out, before I figured it out. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to tell everybody about what I figured out. Now, what I love to use, there's so many modalities that you can use in energetics. There's human design, which we had an amazing call with Kimberly on human design. If you haven't watched that recording, please go back and check that one out. That's an energetics modality. We've got personality tests. Who's done a personality test here? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, Kirsten, human design is really good for this. I've got something else that I'm going to share with you today, though. That's not human design. Grace has done a personality test. Annie did one yesterday. I think I've repelled my team. Shona, don't worry, we're going to fix that today. Rach has done multiple. Awesome. Same. I've done multiples over the years, like, because I was starting to realize like how I am mentoring my team is not working. So I want to learn about their personality types to see, if there's something that I'm like not getting so I can help them. And so I have done so many personality tests, and so many of them work. Human design works, all of it works. Now, what I'm going to use today is astrology. I don't know if anyone here is very versed in astrology. Actually, I'd love to know on a scale of 1 to 5, if 1 is I am a total newbie to astrology, I have no idea what we're about to learn, and 5 is like, I'm a pro, I know this, or 3 is like, I kind of know a little bit, but I could learn more. Let me know what your number is. Mel, useless. Haley's a 3, Shona's a 2.5. Mel knows her star sign. Woohoo! Grace is a 2 to 3. Kirsten's a 4. Okay, cool. We have a beautiful variety. Samantha's a 9. Love it. Okay, so we have a really good mixed bag of knowledge on astrology. So what I'm going to teach you about is and by the way, if you're writing notes, I just want to let you know, I'm going to give you all my notes. I've got them all typed up, so you don't have to sit there and like frantically write. I'm going to give it all to you, like you'll get it. What I do want you to write down is just things that resonate with you, that land, right? So that when you have the notes in front of you later, if you replay this, you're like, oh, that's right, that's what I wrote down. Okay. So what I want to talk about in regards to astrology today is just the elements, right? So the elements of, actually, you know what? And I purposely didn't, I'm switching back and forth, I apologize. I purposely didn't get you guys to bring out your natal charts if you've got them, because I knew that there would be some newbies on the line, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to get your natal chart. Who here has never looked at their natal chart before? Say me in the chat. Amy, Lisa, Cheryl, Sophie. Okay, there's a few of you. So I'm just going to quickly show you something. I'm going to show you 2 things. Yeah, it is probably Mel. Surprise! Okay, so there's a really cool app that's free. It's called Time Passages. I'd love for you to download it while we're doing this masterclass. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. it looks like this when you log into it. So actually I'll go to the app so you can see what the little app looks like. App. Time Passages is a good one because it's free, and it also gives you so many like clues about all the different parts of your chart. So if you're new to astrology, it's really good. Time Passages, here we go. This is it. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So download Time Passages. You're going to need your name, which you know, your location of birth, and your time of both. Oh, if you're using CoStar, awesome. You don't need to, yeah, whatever app you already use, please use that. But yes, if you don't know your time of birth, that's okay. You can do a couple of things. You can look at it later and input the data later. After our call, or if you know you're like a morning baby, just put a morning time. If you know you're an afternoon baby, put an afternoon time. If you have no idea, just use midday as a reference point, and then you can look at your birth chart or ask someone who was at your birth what the time was. But for now, for purposes of keeping this short and sweet, you can just use a reference time if you don't know. So Time Passages is one of the apps we're going to be using. Another one is actually on the desktop. Don't stress if you're not on a desktop, because you can go back and do this later. And my notes that I've written up for you have the step-by-step instructions of what I'm about to show you. So I'm just going to share my screen. If you are on a desktop, you can totally do this with me while we can do it together. Okay, let me find, what am I trying to find here? Hold on. I have so many tabs open. Oh my goodness. Woohoo! Okay, astro.com. It's free as well, so you don't have to pay for anything. So the way that we're going to get our birth charts up is we're going to click on these little lines here, and you go to free horoscopes. And then we're going to go to horoscope drawings and data and extended chart selection. I know I'm going very fast, by the way, but this is more like, you don't need to do this right now. You can look back on the recording, but for later, if you want to do this for yourself later, then yeah, there's going to be a tutorial in the notes. I, just so you know, in case you're someone who uses astrology, like if you've already got apps and stuff, the house system that I always use is whole signs. So when you go to do this, you need to click on this plus button where it says zodiac and houses, and there are so many types of house systems. Default is usually Placidus. That's what most apps use, and what things like this usually default to. But I actually use the whole sign system. I'm not going to get into why right now, but what I do want to show you is what it looks like when you have a whole sign system used on your chart. Whole sign is when one whole sign is dedicated to one of these pies. So this is a natal chart. For the newbies on the line, I'm just going to show you exactly what this means. Essentially, these are all the planets and all of the constellations, as in like the zodiac signs, where they were perfectly placed in the sky the moment you took your first breath. So when you put your time into the chart, this is literally it. This is where all the planets were and where all the zodiac signs were. Now, the cross in the middle represents you on Earth. So that's you in the middle, and this is pretty much the sky. I'm just going to quickly explain what 1 through to 12 means. So you can see here there's numbers in the middle. These are what are called houses. So each house has a different theme. So like house number 1 is all about the self. House number 2 is all about money matters. House 3 is all about communication. So yeah, they all have different themes. The ones I'm going to be focusing on today for our energetics masterclass in business is what's called our working houses. So our working houses are house number 2, which, like I said before, is money matters, wealth creation, like how you make money and attract abundance to you in terms of money. House number 6, which is all about service to others and your daily routines. And house number 10 is the third working house, which is all about career, work, entrepreneurship, how you're perceived, how people see you, your public image. So house 2, house 6, and house 10 is what we're focusing on today. Now, if you're using the Time Passages app or Coaster, you'll see when you open your chart, you'll have the same thing. You'll have 2, 6, and 10 there. For today, we're going to ignore all of the planets that are inside. We're not going to be focusing on that. What we're actually focusing on is the zodiac signs, which are these on the outside. So I'm just going to run you through them. Red is fire, green is earth, orange is air, and blue is water. So that I'm just going to make it very simple for you guys today in terms of what we're looking at. We're just going to look at the elements of the zodiac signs. Now, before I continue any further, I just want to make sure I haven't lost anyone. Love this, so exciting. Let me know if you need some help, or if you're just here just to learn and then you can look at the notes and look at your chart and everything later. That's totally cool too. Okay, haven't heard from anyone yet. Are we all good? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah? Okay, let's continue. So the reason, oh my goodness, what was that? Fireworks, how cool was that? I don't know if anyone saw that. Okay, Denise is looking at her chart. Wonderful. Okay, so the elements, I'm just going to run through them very quickly. But what I want you to do before I run through that is have a look at what elements rule your working houses. Here's a tip. It's always going to be the same element. So you can see my working house 2 is ruled by an earth sign. My working house 6 is ruled by an earth sign, and my working house number 10 is also ruled by an earth sign. So my working houses are ruled by earth signs. What's yours? Can you see? Can you see what zodiac sign rules your natal chart? Your working houses. So all 3 will always be the same. So let's have a look at the chart. What if mine are different? They shouldn't be. 2, 6, and 10. Well, the working houses should always be the same. If you're using a different house system, like I mentioned before, you might have multiple zodiac signs in the one house, which means it just means you're not using a whole sign system, which is okay. Just look at what zodiac sign or what element rules it the most. I'll give you a visual of what I mean. Let me go back to the chart. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm going to run my chart with what's called a placeted system so you guys can see that. Got Maddie's there. All right, so if you're not in whole sign, let's say you go to default or placidus, your natal chart might look like this. So you've got your houses, but you're like, there's like, my 10th house has green and red, and my second house has mostly green, and my 6th house has green and red too. So if that's what's happening to you, you've just used the wrong house system, but that's okay. Have a look at what's most dominant. So here I would say my second house is dominated by green, an earth sign over fire. My 6th house is definitely dominated by an earth sign over everything else. And my 10th house is kind of in the middle, but the other 2 earth signs overrule. Does that make sense to you guys? That's probably what's happened for you if my 6 and 10 are empty and 2 is earth. Mine are all earth. Awesome, Annie. Is it outside color line? Should they be crossing over? Yeah, I think I just explained that. Kara sent a photo. Yes, so Kara, like your 10th house there is overruled by the fire sign. So you can see there, most of it is red. So I would say you're a fire. Lauren, all 3 are earth on hers. I think mine are fire, Sag, Leo, and can't see 6. If 2 out of 3 are fire, then go with fire, Kirsten. Yep, Denise has fixed it to whole sign. Amazing. The zodiac houses, you mentioned clicking something in there, but I can't remember. Got it. Okay, fire for Cherie. Okay, woohoo, we've got a water, fire for Haley, all air for Amanda. What do we select for display and calculation options? Just whatever defaults there, Mel. That one's not too important. Yellow is air, Sophie. So if you've got yellow, your working houses are an air sign. Okay, I think everyone's kind of got theirs, but if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to continue on. And when you watch the tutorial on how to do this step by step, you can come back to the notes. I think today's more just like a general, like, here's how I learned it when I first started learning astrology. My first introduction was what I'm about to teach you today. So it doesn't matter if you're like, I don't know what mine are. It's just really good for you to understand what I'm teaching today. And then you've got the notes, you'll have the tutorial, you'll be able to do it. And you can always ask me questions in my DMs if you want. Okay, so let's go back to, oh, now I've got the wrong natal chart for myself. Let me go back to my normal one. Okay. I'm actually going to share my screen and just keep it up because I think it'll be a good reference point for you guys. Okay, can you see my natal chart? Yep. Okay, cool. So let's go through the elements. I'm going to start with fire, which you can see here. My working houses are not ruled by fire, but I'm just for those who are. Fire, when we look at the energetics of fire, which is either Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius in your working houses, it means that energetically, what's energetically correct for you and how you show up in your business is leadership, bold action, very creative, very self-expressive. So it's like someone who's ruled by fire needs to be self-expressing authentically. So if you are like copying someone else's, not copying, like modeling someone else's strategies, or you're like, oh, I love the way they post, I'm just going to do what they do, like that is so against and out of alignment for a fire working sign. So you have to be self-expressive. So a really good question for someone who's a fire here in their working houses would be like, what do I actually, how do I actually want to express myself? What is authentic to me? What is like exciting? What do I love and what am I passionate about, right? Because fire signs are very passionate people and they're very motivated by leadership, which means they are the trailblazers. Like they're the ones who, in a working house, they're the ones who are going first. So it's not energetically correct for you to follow others, if that makes sense. Also, those who have a fire in their working house really like thrive in like a fast-paced environment, or also like kind of like a little bit of last minute pressure. That's where they really do their best work. So just going to go to the chat before I move on to Earth. For all of our fire signs in working houses, does that resonate with you at all? Oh, and Ebony, you're both, so that's cool. I'll be interested to know what yours is with a whole sign though. I would go with that when you redo your natal chart and use the whole sign system. I'm water. Okay, we're coming to you, Samantha, although you would probably know really well all about this. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move over to Earth. Earth, which is myself in the working houses. If you've got Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, you are an earth sign, okay, in the working houses. So the earthies need a lot of like stability and security, and they're very motivated by structures. They're not airy-fairy, flowy, like I'm gonna wing it. If they are, they're not in alignment with how their constitution wants them to function. So the earth signs are very practical. It's me to a T. If anyone here on the line knows me to a T, you know I'm so practical, like logical, like someone can complete something so effortlessly who's an air sign because they're like, woohoo, that was easy. And I'm just gonna be like, yeah, but what about all the like intricate details, right? So for me, particularly, like I need security, stability. I need to know that something's gonna work really well before making a decision on it, right? So this is the really funny thing, right? I never used to be structured. And these energetic gifts were gifted to me from birth, yet all the way to, I would say, until maybe, yeah, well, 10 years ago, I started learning and teaching myself astrology over 10 years ago, actually, more like 13 years ago now. When I realized I was an earth sign in my working houses, and I realized what is energetically correct for me is to have practicality in my decisions, to have grounded energy, to make decisions in business about that are revolved around security and structure. Then, and I was like, wow, that's not me at all. I realized I'm living out of energetic alignment to what's like in my constitution. And then I started to change things. I started to like put routine into my schedule. I started to create like a morning routine. I started to be very structured and kind of rigid, if I'm going to be honest, with my like systems and processes in business. And I started to realize like, oh my goodness, more abundance and effortlessness is coming my way. Then I realized that is energetically aligned for me. So for the earthies on the line, if you're like, oh, I'm not structured at all, I don't have any routines. For example, if we're looking at the second house, which is all about money, if you don't have a budgeting system in place and you're wondering why you can't attract more money into your business, I would be suggesting to you to look at ways that you can implement structures and systems, like a budgeting system that's consistent, that makes you feel safe and secure, and look at what happens to your money and your wealth. It's very, very interesting. Okay, I'm going to go over to the air signs now. For those who have orange or yellow in their working houses, that this means you've got Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius here. You are an air sign in the working houses. Air signs are very intellectual and love to communicate. So it means that in your businesses, it is very energetically correct for you to like always be like sharing your ideas and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. You're very social beings, which means network marketing is like so on point and on brand for you. And it's like very energetically correct for you to be in this business model, right? Because you are very like communicative, like networking is like a breeze for you. You love to communicate ideas and wisdom and education, and you're very intellectual. The other thing about air signs, which I love, is that you're very innovative. So what this means is like when you tap into the energetics of the air sign for your business, knowing that you are naturally innovative or innovative, however you say it, it is very energetically correct for you to go out there and do something that no one else is doing. I'll give you an example. If the air signs here on the line are not using AI to help them grow and scale their business, I would very much be jumping on that bandwagon ASAP. AI is very, like, think about the innovation behind AI. It's very new. Not many people are using, I mean, a lot of people are, but a lot of people are not. I think there are more people not using AI to help them grow and scale their business compared to who are. So I would say, as an air sign, explore that world. Really dive into that. Or maybe it doesn't have to be AI. Maybe it's something totally different. But I would say to you, what's very energetically correct for you is do things that no one else is doing. Or innovate something, do something different, create something. And that is what brings more, I want to use the right word. It's what brings more growth, abundance to your working life. Mel's finally figured out her chart. She's water. Amazing. You're next. We're going to talk about water next. And by the way, guys, I'm going to go deeper into all of this. I'm just giving you a little bit of a nutshell of each of the elements. So, water signs in your working houses: Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. My water signs are very like nurturing, loving, emotional, very intuitive, very feminine energy, very empathetic, so motivated by like deep connection and spirituality. Like, think of water signs as like very feminine. Like, just think about how like water flows. That is the water signs. And Mel is saying far out, that's me to a T. Okay, so what really inspires you is feelings of like just emotion, like deep and meaningfuls, long chats, right? The water signs love a good chat. They're very nurturing, so they tend to like create really homely communities, which again, very energetically correct for network marketers. And water signs really thrive in environments where they're allowed to like be emotional, right? They're allowed to show their emotional depth. They don't feel like they have to hide that part of themselves. And what they really love is meaningful relationships. So what I would say is that for the water signs in the working houses, for you to create growth and scale your business, and something that would be very energetically correct for you is really focusing on intimate relationships, like with your team and clients, like customers. Like, and when I say intimate relationships, I mean like talk to them, like get to know them really well. Make sure that they feel so seen and heard by you, because that is your superpower. And that is the energetics of your business that would help you be very successful in this space. So that's the basics. That's a nutshell of the 4 elements. But I want to now talk about the specific working houses: house 2, house 6, house 10, and then how we relate the energy that we just learnt about to each specific house. Okay. So you can see here in my second house, you can see here, well, you can see there, it's ruled by a Capricorn. You wouldn't know what that sign means. Let's just stick with the elements. It's ruled by an earth sign. The second house is all about wealth matters, money mindset, your self-worth, and the value that you create, right? It's all about money. This is the house of money. So have a look at what element rules your house of money, the second house. For the earth signs, if this is you here, what's going to be very energetically correct for you is, like I said before, creating wealth through structure and systems. So maybe consider like how does that look for you? It might be that you have a quarterly meeting with your accountant on the quarter that's just been, and you pre-plan for the quarter that will be, so that you can talk about money and budgeting and savings and all of those things, so that you are on top of your money matters, right? That's what it might look like for an earth sign in the second house. Or it might be like being very rigid with their budgeting system. Like for me, I love to do what I call my wealth principles on the 10th and the 24th of every month. Do it twice a month. Whatever's on my calendar that day, I actually move to ensure that I have my money date with my money, because I need that structure and stability, because that makes me feel safe. And as an earth sign in a second house, I need safety and security to feel energetically like on fire, right? Okay, we're talking about house 2 now. Water signs in the second house: Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces here. With your money, you need to be very intuitive with it, right? You need to, like, when you make decisions around money, you can't be like, you can't just like buy something on a whim, or you can't invest on something just like because it feels good right there and then. Like, it's so energetically incorrect for you. A water sign has to be very intuitive with their approach of how they handle their money. So how this means is, let's say like there's something that you want to invest in. It might be like a coach or a mastermind, or it might be AI tool, or some type of tool and technology for your business, before you take action, you need to like just go within. You need to be like, is this correct for me? Do I need this? Do I think this is a good idea? Even things like buying a house, like you can't just like go and buy a house because you've got the money there. It's got to like, you got to walk through the house, you got to feel into it, you got to be like, yes, I'm feeling very good about this, or something's just not right about this, right? So that's a very water sign functioning way of around money. You also need to grow your emotional intelligence around money and finances. So if you are very dysregulated by your income, I would say it would be very important for you to focus on growing the emotional intelligence around your finances by understanding how to regulate your nervous system. So this might look like creating a safety fund of 3 months in your bank account so that you feel very like emotionally intelligent if something was to happen and you lose your job, or you have a bad month in business, or you need to pay a really big fine and you're like, oh my God, where am I going to get that money from? Instead of freaking out about those things, you've got a safety fund. So you're like, I feel okay about this. Like, I've prepared for this, I feel okay. But there's other ways that you can really strengthen your emotional intelligence, and that is through things like reading books around money mindset, learning like about investing and how to have a very neutral approach to it, things like that, right? Blue is water. So that's what I just spoke about. Okay, I'm going to go through to the air signs in the second house. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Because you guys are so like intelligent, practical, communicative, like you're very social as well. You build your wealth through connections and networks. So again, like network marketing just makes total sense for you to create an income in this space. Because the way that you can increase your wealth or increase your income is through others. So it's not like a one-man band sort of thing for you guys. It's very strategic in like who your connections are, who's in your little black book, who can help you, right? So let's just say you come up with like a really cool business idea for your Juice Plus business, something like you want to create a PDF file for your customers so that it's like an incentive for people to purchase Juice Plus from you and your team. Instead of you like being like, okay, this is going to be my moneymaker, what you would say is, who can I help? Who can help me? Who can I reach out to who's in my network, who knows how to create pretty Canva documents? Who in my team can I lean on to help me like collaborate with me, right? It's very much about collaboration in the way that you create finances. Fire signs in the second house, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Because you guys are so passionate and you're leaders, right? You're natural leaders. This is where you create income through bold action. It's going to admit people in the waiting room. Bold action orientated behavior is how you're going to make big money moves. So like taking big risks, for example, is very energetically correct for the fire signs in the house. So I would say like, if an opportunity presented itself, you're not like the water signs. Actually, fire and water oppose each other. They're completely opposite. Remember how I said before, water signs are like very intuitive. You've got to think into it. You've got to make sure that it's like the right thing. Fire signs, that is not you. You have just got to go with your gut. You're just like taking bold action all the time with your money. This might look like, like one of my strategies with my money is the profits that I create within my business every quarter. If you've read Profit First, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's my favorite book around money and entrepreneurship. Profit First talks about the profits that your business creates every quarter. You split it in half. 50% of it goes to you as a bonus so that you can go and play like with it and do something really fun. And the other 50% of it gets invested into something so that you are compounding your income and your business is actually generating wealth for you behind the scenes, behind you actually doing the do, right? So A fire sign would be like you would take bold action on what you invest in. You'd like at the end of every quarter, you'd be like, right, what am I investing my profits into this quarter? That looks good. Oh, it looks a bit risky. That's okay. That's energetically correct for me. It feels very good for me to do that. I'm going to do that. So that is the second house. I know I'm flying through this, but I promise the notes are very detailed. Okay, let's talk about house 6. The 6th house, you can see here. Let me just get rid of the chat for a second. Over here, can you guys see my little mouse? Yep, 6th house over here. Okay, the 6th house is all about your service to others. We are all in service to others in this business, whether it's to our team or to our customers or even just to our audience online. If you're building on social media, you are in service, you are adding value to people. And the 6th house is very much about your work routines. So let's talk about earth signs in the 6th house. Me, either Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. If you're an earth sign in the 6th house, your work routines and the way that you approach your, I suppose, service to others has to be very systematic, very like reliable processes. So a good example for me, like when boards came out and you could like put all your scripts into boards, and I could just like easily just send a script to someone without sitting there and typing it. I was like, oh my God, this is so me, earth sign in the 6th house, right? It's all about like systemization for us earthies in the 6th house. And very like, we need stability. So like if I was to continue building this business without scripts written out, scripts that I've written, I would be writing things all the time to people or spending so much time like rewriting things to my potential customers in my DMs. Like that is so a waste of my energy. I can't do that like that. It's very energetically correct for me to create automations and systems that make it really easy. I'll give you another example of this. Every single training that we have for the team, like all of our, like these calls and Wednesday night calls and the Juice Plus masterclasses and everything like that, it's all in my calendar. And in the description, I've got the Zoom link, the description, and the photo of that training. And I get an alert the day before that says, make sure you post the reminder in the threads about X training that's on tomorrow. So that's like an automation, right? It's a system for me. So I'm not forgetting to remind the team, like, we've got this team training on. Make sure you're there. This is the time. This is a Zoom link. Here's the pretty flyer. Like, how much easier can it get, right? But if I was to have to remember that all the time, I wouldn't be a very good leader. So that's a good example. Water signs in the 6th house. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Our very intuitive, emotional beings. This is about, remember the 6th house is all about how you serve others and your work routines. I would say that it's very energetically correct for you to have like deep connection with your customers in a way that they feel like so supported by you and your team as well. So it's really about like tapping, like you have this innate gift of intuition. So tapping into your intuitive understanding of the needs of others. So this might mean, this is completely opposite to us earthies who need the scripts in boards. For you, it actually might be energetically correct for you to not to send the script from boards and be like, I'm just going to say what's on my heart. I'm going to send a VM instead. So can you see how the energetics of how we function is so different compared to like, an earth sign is like, I need the systems and structures. Whereas for water signs, it's very much about like, just tap into your natural nurturing, caring style to know what to say next. So like when I used to have teams say to me like, oh my God, I just got this objection. Like, what's the script? If they're a water sign and I give them my script, yeah, they can use that, but that's so not like in their constitution to do that. I would say to them, well, what feels good to say, right? And they'd be there, well, it feels really good to explain it like this. And then I'd say, yes, well, that is how you have to explain it to that person. So very, very different approach in strategy to how we would objection manage. So Kirsten's just said in the chat, so interesting because with fire, the scripts felt rigid too, despite knowing they work. Well, let's talk about fire, okay? The fire sign in the sixth house, because you're very energetic and very enthusiastic, and you're a trailblazer, you're a natural leader, you might look at the script and go, I hate this script. I know it works, but I'm going to make my own, right? That's very energetically correct for a fire sign in the sixth house. So it might be very like because you're action orientated in the approach that you do things and how you help others. Yeah, for you, it might be like, I hate this script. I know it works for you, but I'm changing it. I'm going to add my own emojis. I don't use that word. I'm going to change it like to say it like this because I say this word instead, right? So that is a very like fire sign thing to do. But if we talk about like your service to others and your work routines, it's very inspiring. So I would love the fire signs in the house to showcase their work routines, like face to camera on your stories. You know, if you really want to attract people into your business, it would be very energetically correct for you to be like, you know, a day in the life of. I wake up, this is my routine in the morning, this is what I eat for breakfast, all right, I'm going to get straight into work, like this is how it looks like, this is my calendar today, like that is an example of how a fire sign would showcase like their work routine and attract people to them too. So just a little like caveat on this part. I always get this question, it's a very good question, and it's, yeah, but I'm a fire sign, so that is energetically correct for me to do. But what if the person watching is not a fire sign? What if they're like Mel and they're a water sign? Like she's not going to be attracted to that because she's a water sign. That's a very normal question. I love this question so much. Let me explain. It has nothing to do with what the other person is. Like for example, because I'm an earth sign and I need that rigidity and structure in my day, and if I was to showcase that, just because you're not an earth sign doesn't mean that's not attractive to you. What's actually attractive to you looking at me is my energetics, because I am fully embodying my energetics. So I'm in alignment with how I need to behave. And that is not something that you like can fake, right? People watch you and they'll be like, she's just so in flow. I don't know what it is about her. It's like they can't see your aura. Imagine your aura like people could see it, but when you're in alignment with your energetics, when you are fully embodying the energetics of your being, people see it, they feel it, they smell it through the screen. They don't know they can, but they're like, I'm just so attracted to this chick. She's so magnetic and I don't know what it is about her, but I like her and I want to join her team. Or I love her. I don't know what product she's selling, but I want to buy it from her. And it has nothing to do with like you're a fire sign and they're a fire sign, so they're attracted to you. No, it has everything to do with you embodying your full expression and your alignment and your energetics. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool. So 10th house, I can see the time. So I'm going to wrap this up soon, but I just want to talk about the 10th house before we do finish. I don't know. I'm 4, not 5 with astrology, but I'm fascinated. I'm a -1. Okay. Yeah, welcome to my brain. So I hope you're enjoying this. Okay, 10th house is all about the career and your public image. So think of the 10th house as like your personal brand. How if people were to like go onto your Instagram page and look at your feed, like that's your 10th house, right? It's how like they perceive you, but also it's very much about entrepreneurship, this house. It's about business, career achievement, all the things. So an earth sign like myself in this house we need to be a part of a business that is like legacy. Like we are here to build long lasting wealth and impact, and we don't like pop and drops. Like it is so energetically out of alignment for an earth sign to swap and change and keep changing what they're doing. And if an earth sign is doing that, they are never going to create the success that they want, because they need to do something that they can stick to, and it builds lasting wealth and success, and a very strong focus on quality and excellence, right? So like a good example of this, I'm just going to plug my, just realized I have no battery. A perfect example of this is like when the shiny, bright new object appears and, everyone goes to the thing. An earth sign, when they're fully embodied, is like, I see that thing, but I'm staying put. I'm going to stay here because I know that it's energetically correct for me to continue like excelling at the thing that I've dedicated myself to. A water sign in the 10th house, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, very like your business and your work has to be very deep and meaningful. It has to bring you fulfillment. It has to bring you so much joy. And it has to be a space where you are able to use your innate gift of intuition. So I feel like we get to do that in this business every single day, where we get to have those beautiful, deep conversations with people, really get to know them, really get to help them. Like people become family here in this space, and that's like so on brand for a water sign in the 10th house. So really lean into that gift you have of conversations and deep, like not like fickle relationships, deep relationships that like people who become your besties, right? That is how you're going to create success in this space. An air sign, which is Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, because you guys are just like natural thought leaders, you're very innovative, your work has to allow, or your business, give yourself the space to like stand out from the crowd, if that makes sense. So allow yourself to like think of the question, like, how can I do this different to everybody else? How can I stand out? What is my point of difference? What is my unique selling point? And this is very important for people in network marketing, for example, because we are all selling the same product, right? And most of us have the same program if you're using the detox program. So for you, it's like, yeah, this is great, but if you're feeling boxed in, it's very natural for an air sign. What I would suggest for you to be like is like, well, how can I like utilize this program and this product and then add like my own flavor? How can I do something that's different so I have a unique selling proposition or a unique standout point? Like then that is you in energetic alignment. And it doesn't have to be this big old thing. It can literally be like, when you're talking about the products online, you can talk about like an exclusive freebie that people get when they join you as a customer. Or, team-wise, when people join your team, like this is an exclusive extra special thing that you get. Like even promoting these calls, the aligned and empowered calls, is really smart for an air sign to be like, look at this special thing we have. Like, if you want to learn more about joining our community, like this call was amazing, or these calls are phenomenal. I'm learning so much. It's all about being aligned and empowered. And this is what you get when you join our team, right? Instead of you feeling like you're just in like a big ocean of juice pluses, what's your thing that makes you stand out? That is a question for the air signs here. Fire signs, last but not least, in the 10th house, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. For you, like it's very important in your career, in your business, to like allow yourself to be very visible, to be like in the spotlight, to be like front and center, like showcase yourself as the thought leader, as the person who's like trailblazing and doing all the things, right? You have this natural charismatic leadership gift about you. So really showcase that. And that is what's going to help people be so attracted to you, because people want to be led, right? So show your boldness, show like how you're pioneering like this epic movement and what it's about, and really like you focus on that. Talk about that until you're black and blue in the face, and people will just be so magnetized to you, because that is you in your 10th house in energetic alignment. Is it possible to be some of each sign? Yes. We're not ruled by these different constitutions. Like, this is the other thing I love about astrology. I mean, Mel, you have all of the zodiac signs in your natal chart, right? I'm feeling very bipolar right now. Yes, like if you're really resonating, and I'm very much generalizing the zodiac signs here, the elements, but just remember, like you're a water sign in the working houses, but you've also got fire signs, earth signs, and air signs in your chart in different houses, in other houses. So if you're resonating with what I'm saying, there's very much probably something happening, like, let's just say I spoke about fire and about how it's very much about like boldness. I'd be very curious to know what houses are ruled by your fire signs. And then we could talk about, well, yeah, that's why you resonate with the fire sign, because your, X house is, ruled by fire. So 7 and 10, 7 and 11, did you say? Yeah, perfect. So what this means for you, I'm just going to quickly go off track, but the 7th house, for example, is all about intimate relationships. It's about, and not like sexual. What I mean is like the deep relationships that you have with people, whether it's family, romantic, friendships, team, customers. It requires a lot of depth. Yes, Shona. So when you're ruled by a fire sign here, like it is very natural for you to take bold action in your relationships. Think about maybe like your marriage, right? Like, are you the type of person that like will boldly say something that's like on your mind or on your heart? Or would you take like bold action and be spontaneous and like just book the trip, right? Like that is a very fire sign in the 7th house. Mel's just going, yep, for sure, me. Okay, so I'm very mindful of time. What I wanted to do was just like briefly introduce you to the world of energetics through astrology. I realized that I have just like fire hosed you with information. So I do want to show you what I've created for you guys. I'm going to send this to you. So this is all the notes, right? All the notes for free. You don't need to give me your email. I'll just send it to you through Messenger. I'll show you in a minute how. P.S. Do you like my AI generated dream office space? This is what it would look like for me if I lived in my dream house, and what my office would look like. Anyway, all the information is here for you. How to access your natal chart, the steps, some screenshots. I've got the elements here for you if you want to cover that again. The working houses are there for you as well. Your homework from today's masterclass is to go through the practical implementation part of this workbook. I've got some activities here for you on what you can do to start living in alignment with your energetics according to your working houses. So have a read through that. And then I have a really fun AI prompt for you at the end there that you can input into whatever your favorite AI program is, whether it's like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever. Copy paste that in there and just explore it. Just have fun with it. Just be open to like what you get. Okay, so the way that you can get this document is if you go to my Instagram page, just DM me the word magnetize. Let me just show you. If you don't know what I'm going to paste it in the chat. Send me the word magnetize. You can spell it with Z or an S, and it'll automatically, my little bot will automatically send you the notes. You don't have to give me your email or anything like that. It'll just send it to you. But if you get stuck or if you have any questions, if you don't have Insta, That sucks. Send me a DM on Facebook, Lauren, and I'll send it to you manually. My Instagram does it automatically, but I'll be very happy to do it manually for you. Um, that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to introduce you to the energetics of astrology. Have some fun with it. If you get stuck or you're kind of confused, especially with the whole sign thing, make sure you watch the tutorial and do it properly. But if you're still stuck, my inbox is open. I'm so happy to help you out. But the word is magnetize. Magnetize. I pop it in the chat. Or you can spell it like this. I don't know how Americans spell it. Magnetize. I think they spell it like that. It should work. All right, my loves. I hope you loved that. I hope that was of value to you. And yeah, if you loved today's masterclass, make sure you share with me what you learned and what you loved. You can tag me on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to see, I'd love to read. It brings me so much joy seeing what it is that you took away from today. So, mwah, love and adore you. It was so good to hang out with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.